beautiful, happy Monday. I know that those two words, for most of us in our mind, tend to not uh, go well together, but that is why I am here. That is one of my life's purpose, what I'm trying to do and come out here on. Streaming live to you guys right now, yes, on a beautiful, happy Monday. Because everything we talk here with the place at TM and on these channels uh, is about elevating your mindset, elevating your life, elevating your physical body, your finances, your relationships, your heart, your soul, all of those things to where you can wake up on a Monday and say it with me. It's a happy Monday. It's a beautiful Monday because you are the creator of your life. You are the designer of your life. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about right here, you guys, just on some Monday motivation. Okay. So, Monday motivation. Hey, as always, thank you for being here, for showing up for about the next 10 to 15 minutes. We're just going to snapshot this. We're going to go right into this. But as always, let's get it live in the chat. Okay. I want to know where you're coming from, where you're watching me from. Okay. You guys let me know because I want to see it. I want to know. Let's make sure that we are out in public. Okay, there we go. Always does that. Reminded to fix that, to switch that. Alrighty, for my YouTube people, what's going on? We're new. We're new to that as well. Let me know where you guys are watching from. Let's get the chat off and popping. As many of you guys have questions as I'm talking, you guys feel free to shout that out. You are not interrupting me. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. But I wanted to go ahead and jump up on here, you guys. It is a happy Monday. Okay, and I hope your week is so far off to a great start. And here's the awesome thing about that. Again, we're going to be talking today about being the creator, the artist of your life. We're going to be talking about the artist's road, the artist's path. And you may be saying to me, okay, I'm not an artist, so you're switching off. I just don't mean a guy or a gal with a paintbrush in their hand. What I am talking about is artistry in the fact of creation. You were designed by a creator to be a creator. I say this all the time, that there are many things that even God himself can't do and won't do because he's relegated that position, authority, and job to you. Never forget when the Holy Spirit told me one time, he said, I can't make you pick up the word. I can't make you read. I can't make you meditate and chew on truth. I actually have to know where my Bible is. Right? And I've got to set aside intentional time. If you're not creating a life of intentionality, you're waiting for everything to happen through an accident or through luck. And there's actually an accident bound to happen if you're not waking up and living with intention. You'll live by life's designed for you instead of you being the designer. You waking up and say, as much was as within my grasp, as you take the paint brush in your hand, you're saying, I'm going forward in this way. So this is the design that I want for my life. This is what I see. This is what I envision. When I close my eyes and you want to think of a world that you live in, did you know that your imagination can become actualization? And I had said this on a post because I'm reading a fantastic book and I wish I had it next to me right now. I would run and go grab it, but I don't want to run off screen and you guys run away. Fantastic book. I'll share about it on the next live, but is incredible, talking about essentially what I'm going to be saying right now. Being an artist, taking control of your life, and you not having to go according to the wind and the waves of this world, um, and kind of just doing what the status quo tells you that you have to do, who you have to be, what job you have to work. It has to look like this way. You have to go down this path. There is no other options. It looks like this. And you may have had family members, friends, people who may have meant well tell you these things. I'm here to tell you that I love you enough that the greatest potential you could ever unearth within you many times is found on the road on the path of curiosity and letting imagination have its day. Letting imagination have its way in your life. That even sometimes we feel stuck and we don't know why. It's because we are a little bit too locked in to our routine, that we're not allowing shifts and changes and trying new things to bring about a new experience that brings about a new result that can impact our life and the world around us. So there's an ebb and flow and a dance to the artist as you, the artist of your life, are painting a picture that you can be satisfied with at the end of the day. That watch this. They always talk about art or beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Where we get sometimes, and when we're creating this life that we are building, that we are drawing, that we are curating, is that because we see other people like the color blue, follow me on this, we start painting with the color blue, and we're just trying to keep up with everybody else because everybody wants to be found in community. But the greatest communities allow the expression of the God given desire and DNA to manifest itself in its peculiarities. That it may look different, it may sound different. For the chef, it may taste different. It may have a different look, a feel, or something. It may invoke a different emotion, but that is the beauty of art, is that there's more than one color. It's the beauty of life when I look outside my window and I'm seeing greens, but I see it cascading upon the sky that is blue today, and I'm seeing the bright green from my kid's trampoline, and I'm looking at our lawn furniture. If everything were just dull gray, if everything were just bright pink, if everything, there would be no nuance, there would be no flavor to life. So what we have to do is we have to get comfortable and secure in our own palates and mature our palates. What are the things that you're doing right now in life that you've just been doing on autopilot for so long because you were told to do that 10, 15 years ago, or your community around you is doing it again? No, everybody wants to fit in, so you do it just to fit in, but you don't ever really tell your friends, right? Like you go to that one place, you go to that one restaurant, you go to that one hangout, you play those certain games, you watch these certain shows, maybe your husband for your wife, come on now. You do it because you love the person, but anyone in a good relationship, husband, wife, a friendship, a connection, business, we need to allow other people, right, to express their own interests. Even the Bible talks about us not just being obsessed with our own interests, but look out for watch this. This is fascinating. The interests of others. What do they like? Listen, I know I like to go to that one restaurant, and I'm just always, maybe they don't like that place. Have you ever thought to ask? You ever been asked that sort of a question? And it's like, well, what do you think? And you're like, oh my God, I get to have an opinion. And I'm telling you, for some of you guys, this may be like, what do you mean? But I've been that way in life, where I've been that at a point in time where I knew and felt my opinion wasn't valid. And the shift and the switch it makes when you get into communities, when you get into relationships, when you get into friendships, when you find people that aren't just obsessed with things having done their way. And this is one of the greatest things of growth. I talk about it all the time, that yes, we need to have our close tribe, our people who are on the same path and trajectory as us, but we also need to expose ourselves to other ways of thought, to other palettes, to other ideas, information, and don't be so afraid that it's just going to tear us, because many times we don't out of fear. Now, I am not saying for things that we know is off. Oh, I'm going to go try that drug that everyone's talking about. Right? Like come on. The fact I shouldn't even hopefully have to say that. But there's always those people that are out there that said, this guy showed up and just told me to find and go test out new experiences. No, you need to have the fruit of the Spirit. And part of that is self-control, right? Godliness. You need to have the fear of the Lord. All those things, okay? Monday motivation. So what is the path of the artist? If you could wake up tomorrow or within 3 months, looking at the end of the year, and you're in December, and it may not be fully arrived. The picture that you're painting, it's not fully finished, but you start to see clarity. You start to have an idea of, man, that hunger, that passion, that gnawing, that ache within me is starting to slowly be satisfied. The itch is being scratched. Do you know that you don't have to wait for life to just bring it about? What I am telling you is you can take back, and I've said this, the pen, take back the narrative and be the author and actually partner with God. Partner with the Lord on the story that He's writing for you. Because remember, there's some things that even God can't do. He gave us a mouth to talk, a brain to think, feet to walk, to act, and have action. 3 things I want to talk to you guys about today for about the next 7 minutes. Here we go. Number 1, what's the artist's path? Okay, the path, the road of an artist in curating and creating and painting the design of life that is going according to my terms, and it all starts with an inclination. It's that deep down desired thing that you've continued to push away, shove off, because many times we feel that that inclination. How do I word this right? Is frivolous. Because bills have to be paid. I've heard this so long. Someone's got to toe the line, right? Someone's got to take stuff serious. As if you having fun in life just equals frivolity or laziness. How many relationships or people have you seen in your life? They have all their ducks in a row. They've dotted all their I's. They've crossed all their T's. And they're miserable. Miserable. You've got it all going on. Now, I'm not saying that disorganization or laziness equals joy or fulfillment. But what I am saying is that at the end of the day, if you're merely showing up to life out of a simple checklist, you're going to end up in an early, sad grave. You may be breathing air on the outside, but inside, and I'm talking to somebody right now, you're dying for air. That breath to come back into your lungs, that wind to come back into your cells. Maybe some of you haven't felt that way in a long time because you've been living this robotic sense of life, just showing up because bills have to be paid. I go through my 9 to 5 or my 10 to 6 or my whatever it is, 9 to 9 for you 12-hour people. Been there, done that. I've worked, I think, literally every shift. Actually, I know I have on almost every job under the sun. So I can relate to all of you guys out there, and for every other reason as well. I got 5 kids as well. I know food has to be on the table. I know that there are certain needs and things that and responsibilities I got to be. But what about the responsibility to self? Self-care is not selfish. Many of us are great workers. We're great businessmen, but we are horrible when we come back home because we're frustrated. And we're hard to be around. I've been that person. Because we don't think that we get to actually enjoy this thing we call life and still have bills paid and still have needs met and still be a good dad or still be a good wife, a good husband, a good friend, a good brother, a good sister, and so on and so on and so forth. We, and especially as Christians in the kingdom and community, are supposed to be salt. We add, y'all, come on now. Talking to the artist in you. I'm talking to the chef in you. We're supposed to be salt. We give flavor to life around us. But what good is the salt if it's lost its seasoning, if it's lost its flavor? The Bible says it's good for nothing to be trampled under man's feet. And some of you feel like life is trampling you. You feel like life is always calling the shots. And every now and then, right, you would like to get a word in. And I want to tell you, it could be because you're ignoring the inclinations of the Holy Spirit. You've ignored that voice, that inclination towards something that you know you really love to do. You know you really love to talk about. You know you'd really like to go after that dream or start that business. Or some of you know you would really love to leave the place you're at. But you feel stuck because of some sort of misguided commitment, as if you owe somebody else. Listen. One of the great things about the fear of the Lord, the Bible talks about the fear of the Lord. There's safety. There's courage to be found in the fear of the Lord. There is wisdom to be found in the fear of the Lord. And what I have found in the fear of the Lord is that his hand comes with that. And there is a freedom to move, to go, to express, to create when you find out that you are only, at the end of the day, we are fully his and no one else. This is why Jesus said, if you can't forsake father, mother, daughter, sister, son, what is he saying? He said that your allegiance is first and foremost to the Father. Now, that is not a chain. That is, somebody listen to me here. That is not a chain. It's a key. You're not, I think it was Paul. I believe it was Paul, maybe Peter. In one of the epistles says, though I'm the Lord's free slave, he said, I'm the Lord's freedman. That he said, I'm bound as if literally also by chains to preach this gospel, to go to Rome, to do this. But I'm telling you at the same time, I'd rather do nothing else. Disciples, when they came up to Jesus and they said, what food are you talking about? Hey, go here, do this, trying to dictate even to the Lord, right? And he says, I have meat of that you don't even know. I'm feeding off of something else. I've got a calling and a purpose and a plan and a destiny that, yes, Peter, I know you're coming to me right now telling me that I forbid you to go to the cross. And what did he say to him? Satan, get behind me. That's some harsh language, but it was correct in its discernment. I'm trying to, if anything, always to empower and embolden people that what may seem more like a rebellious act is actually an act of obedience to your true allegiance to your Father. And some of you have an over allegiance and an error, but with a good heart out of you, an allegiance to family members, an allegiance to certain jobs that I am telling you would forget about you tomorrow and they would have your job replaced. We're living in 2024, guys, and it's just such a different world, which is why I always talk about it is a catastrophe if you were to never at least think about what it would look like to step outside of the confines of a 9-to-5 and to become your own boss, to live life fully by your design. And I talk about that all the time, how digital products and coming on here and creating an online business or creating any sort of a business where you are the owner, where you are the boss, that it may start as a side hustle and you keep your 9-to-5 because, yes, the bills still got to be paid. I get the reality of that. But even within the realities of giving to Caesar what is Caesar's, as Jesus said, you also give to God what is God's. And that is your heart, and that is your life, and that is your soul, and that is his voice, the inclination, that gentle nudge that many times what we think is fantasy is actually the future that God has waiting for us. So many times what we think is fantasy, I'm going to say this again, is actually the future that God has for us. It's the inclination. The path of the artist starts with an inclination. It starts with that little thought at the back of our head that we daydream about when you're at your office, when you're at your cubicle. You could be in the depth of a conversation with somebody and they know that you're staring off and you don't feel like maybe sometimes you could talk about those things. And if you don't, you may want to level up your relationships. You may want to level up your friendships Okay. Again, as your life goes higher, your circle is going to and should get smaller because the air gets more thin up there. We have to build ourselves, right, to level up. What's the inclination that you've been ignoring for too long? It starts with leaning in on the small voice, the inclination. All right, guys. Number 2 is inspiration. Inspiration. I think one of the, more than anything, the biggest thing for me is I am always trying to design a life and surround myself with things that inspire me. And again, this is going to look and be different for the artist. What's beautiful for you may not always be for somebody else. The foods you like, other people may not like. They have a certain tendencies or a lean, an inclination, right, towards something else. Inspiration. I've got going on right now in the background in my living room. And yes, I'll call myself out. I do this all the time. I put on YouTube music, guys, where I go to those little backgrounds, like the fall seasonal things with the jazz music and stuff like that, and I put that on, or I'll have other music playing or something like that. But it shifts and changes during the day, whatever the mood that I'm finding myself in. But I love to surround myself with things that are lifting me upward, that things that put me at peace. For some of us, it is as simple as taking back the paintbrush on the things in the natural. I can't describe to you the shift that it brought my life. And I watched a quote one time about this guy talking about, just a military guy saying, just the first thing you do, make your bed in the morning. Make your bed. The shift that happens when your mind, when you begin to just, let's maybe start taking care of our house more. Guys, small changes can create massive changes in our life. I'm not saying that in 3 weeks you better have lost 40 pounds, wrote seven, best-selling books, you quit the job, you just didn't even talk, you knew you had to get out of a relationship, you didn't even have a conversation, you just sent them a text because you were just, all right, rip it off like a Band-Aid. There is a process, okay? there's take small steps, though. Because many times I get it. We look at the big picture and it's intimidating. We look at people's life and I don't know how to get there. They got there through taking steps, just like how we get anywhere in life. What's something small that you could do that I'm telling you could be a massive domino effect in your life? It could be by starting to, yes, do the dishes. Yes, make your bed. Yes, take care of your physical self. Why? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you saying to your environment? I'm taking back the reins. I'm loving myself and the people around me that are affected, watch this, by the artistry that I'm designing. Everything we do, whether subconscious or subconsciously, we're doing with intention. We just need to do the right things. Be intentional. Again, if we're not, it's just life's going to have its way and we're just going to be shifted and molded by the culture. And the culture is up, down, left, right, and constantly changing. Inspiration. When's the last time you've had a conversation of depth with a friend? Even a text message. And if you find yourself that you're just not receiving it, I've found that one of the greatest ways to receive is to first give. Blessed is it, right? For those who get, you're going to receive. God is going to make sure that if you're pouring water upon other people, right, that life-giving water is going to be poured back upon your life. Right? It reminds me of that SpongeBob episode. My kids love SpongeBob, so do I. first season, and he's like in the squirrel's cage, Sandy's cage, like, I need it, water. And that's a lot of times where we get hung up, where we get bitter, right? We're tired, you're wore out because you're not living life with intention. You're going through the motions. It's the fastest way to the grave. Very sad. Listen, change at first is never going to feel good. The feel good comes after. The feelings, the emotions, a lot of times that's going to come later. Because watch this. I don't always feel inspired to inspire. Inspiration sometimes has to come out of the depths of darkness. When I don't feel like doing it, when I don't feel like going to the gym, when I don't feel like turning on the podcast, when I don't feel like listening to worship, when I don't feel like opening the word, when I don't feel like having a conversation with my friends and I just want to shut the world out and put a middle finger up to everybody. Yeah, that's real. When my kids have worn me out, when my relationships are wearing me out, when I'm wearing other people out and no one else wants to be around me, because I guarantee you, let me tell you something. You got armpits too, and they can all stink. We got to brush our teeth also, right? I got to take a shower as well, mentally, spiritually. I got to refresh and wash and water my soul so people want to be around me. So it's not just expecting life to just understand my needs, because that's what the culture says. I just deserve it. I'm worthy of this. Life, I'm sorry, does not give a rip because you think you deserve it. So does the other 6 point something, 8, whatever it is now, billion people on the planet. Life reciprocates to the internal nurturing and the gardening of your soul that is demanding the change, not because you just say you deserve it, but you're tending to the flame of your soul. You're building a life with intentionality. You're choosing relationships on purpose and not on accident. Not everybody should have access to your heart. Not everyone should have access to your dreams. Ask Joseph. Not everyone should have access to the deepest parts of your life or even to the shallow areas. You may have to give a full exit to some people if you're wanting to see the life. And you wonder why sometimes you're like, I feel like, brother, sometimes you keep on saying certain things and say, yes, because a lot of times, again, we need not to be taught something new. We need to be reminded of something old. Hashtag that. Tweet that out. Exit. I don't even know what you call that anymore. Many times we need to be not taught something new. We need to be reminded of something old that we haven't put into consistent daily practice in our lives. I don't know how they got there, these millionaires or these people that are making 6 figures, 7 figures of life, those people that we see around us or on social media, on TV, or in real life that seem to, they just wake up enjoying their life. Baby, we don't know the behind story. We don't know the struggle that got them to their success, the troubles that got them to their trophies and triumphs. God rewards openly that which is done in secret. There's going to have to be many times some self-inspiration. David said, I encouraged myself in the Lord. I'm not saying don't lean upon other relationships. Y'all know me. I talk about community and connection all the time, and we need it. We've got to have it. But people also, again, have to have you. So I've got to take, again, the reins back of my life, right? We're talking about the artist past. I have the paintbrush in my hand. What can I do to inspire myself? Is it as simple as plugging in some music and putting the earphones in and shutting the world out, listening to some worship or listening to our favorite music, jazz, whatever it is for you? Opening and reading up a book, getting outside, getting some fresh air, getting in the sun, taking a hike, going on a walk, doing something with your family, playing a board game with a friend, sending that text, sending a video. What can you do that inspires you? And daily be building and curating a life of inspiration. So we need to not ignore the inclinations, ignore the nudges, but begin to let curiosity have its way and find out what are those things. What are the things that are not just maybe I've thought was a fantasy. God, are you speaking to me in my future? Then how can I start curating a culture around me that brings me, that is inspiring me, that is lifting up my soul, that is lifting up, taking my thoughts higher, wanting me to change my speech? Because, guys, environment matters. Environment can either kill plants and kill seeds where they never see the fruit grow, or can create an abundance and can create a harvest. And the last one, guys, which is so important, is implementation. It can't stay in my head. It can't stay in my heart. At some point, it's got to get in my hand so we can give it to the world. For the dream to become destiny, there has to be implementation. Before it to become a reality where we're partnering with the Lord on his path, so we, again, get into the flow of the wind, where we're not necessarily forcing something to happen, but we're getting in the flow for it to be unveiled in due time, in its right moment, in the right way. Implementation is where faith becomes action. James talks about this. Without works, our faith is dead. It's kind of, again, a little bit like our bodies, and I've learned this, guys, more than anything. You better use it or you're going to lose it. Keeping it active, keeping the blood flowing, keeping the oxygen going. That breath of fresh air that we were talking about. Some of you, just watch this, need to start with messy movement. You just need to start with messy movement. Quit waiting to figure it all out before you take a step. You will, and I say this all the time, you're going to grow as you go. That you may have taken all the written tests right back when you were 15 of driving, practiced all the time. Sooner or later, you just have to get behind the wheel and start driving to learn how traffic works, to learn how the traffic of life works. That there's going to be people in life who cut you off. How do you learn how to respond? By God allowing you to be in those situations. How to know when to follow the caution signs, the warning signs of life. When you see the red signs, the stop signs of life, knowing when to stop. When you see the yellows of life, knowing, do I push the gas right now? Do I go for it? Am I at the time in my life? Do I press the gas? Or maybe do I hold back right now? Having the discernment in life to know when it's green, baby, get your head up, get off your phone, cut out the distractions of your life. It's time to hit the gas for you to get to the destination that God has waiting for you. It is not just sit back and God's just going to do it, and I sit on my lazy boy, or I don't wake up with intention. With waiting upon the Lord is a focused waiting. It's a gaze. It's never just a waiting and I'm distracted and I'm out doing my own things and I'm out. No. It's always waiting. God, I know that you're going to do something today. So if I know that he's going to bring rain, I'm going to bring the shovel. And I've planted the seeds in my garden. I've done the work. I've done what you've asked me to do so you can bring about the fruit that's not just for me, but that's for the community around me. God wants to multiply and increase your impact, not so we can just put trophies on a wall. He's not doing it to affirm our insecurities. He's doing it to feed communities. That's why many of us haven't reached the place of success, because if God were to give us in our insecure, unstable state, it would actually kill us. Because we're wanting the affirmation. We're needing the trophies to tell us who we are. You've got to get to a point where you get into secret with him and you've walked enough with him that you know that his love is enough, that he can fully release you out of the reins, off the off of the I can't think of the word, not the handlebars. My wife's calling me. I'll call you in a little bit. Training wheels. There we go. Take the training wheels off. Like my daughter when she was younger, she saw the boys riding, man, boy, they were flying up and down the streets, and she wanted to be like them naturally. I would not be a good father knowing that it was her first time to just take those off and push her and not have to, like I did with my boys, we did with them so they could get to learn to be able to handle getting out into the streets. And some of you, you're not ready for the training wheels to become off, not because God's mean or life is mean, but you're not being intentional with your growth. You're still messing around too much with those relationships you know you shouldn't be. You're still listening to the things you know you shouldn't be. You're not doing the things and getting in the way of health and getting in the... Everybody wants the mountaintop. Nobody wants to climb. Everybody wants the view. Not everybody's willing to do consistently what it takes, because you're not going to be, whether you're building a business or anything else, you have to become it. You have to build you before you get to the it. We always want the it. We want the thing without having to change anything around this. The most successful transformation, the most successful, the most enjoyable, most fulfilling thing you could ever do is build you, is awaken you to realize you're the house of God. To realize, oh wait, I'm the temple. Oh wait, it's my mind. It's my heart. It's my soul. It's not just the dream. It's not just the business. It's not just when we talk about implementation. Because for many of you and many of us, you've seen it. You get down to the end of the rainbow and everything's come to pass. You got everything you ever wanted, and there's still this void. You know the things you need to remove from your life, and the things then that you need to add into your life. And you need to decide today, right now. You need to decide that I'm gonna follow the inclinations. Or maybe you don't know. You've never taken a self-examination. You've never allowed the spirit within you, never allowed your soul, your heart to speak or to be listened to, because it's been ignored by everybody else. Quit waiting for affirmation from somebody else, and you stamp the approval, and you listen to your soul and say, what am I inclined? What am I really good at? You know what? What do I actually really like to do? And start leaning towards that, and then start building a life of inspiration where you said, okay, I know what that is now. I'm going to surround myself with the people that speak to my dreams. I'm going to surround myself to podcasts, to YouTubes, getting in community that's pushing me forward. And I may not like it, and I may not always like what they have to say, because it's rubbing up against my flesh and it's rubbing up against my old tendencies. But I know I've got the prize before me. I know that I've got to change me and change my surroundings if I'm ever going to grasp the life that I want, because that was created for a specific person in mind who has the weight of character, the weight of integrity that can sustain and handle that success. And then I need to start implementing those things right now. What are the small steps, the small changes, the small things you can do to start implementing? You can implement with action today. Remember, you're the artist. Take the paintbrush back into your hand. Inclination, inspiration, you guys, and implementation. I just wanted to come on here real quick to you guys. That's a little bit of some Monday motivation for you. Listen, we've got this awesome thing, guys, that is going on right now called the House of Champions. This is our brand new community, guys. We're calling this the Hawk. This is the HOC, the House of Champions. If you want to get into the right community, and I'm telling you, for some of you, you don't even feel like you need to. I'm telling you, you need it. Check it out. Click the link right here. Join our community, the House of Champions, surrounding yourself with other high-minded thinkers, with people who are wanting to say, I'm tired of the status. I've got one life. I got one life to live. And the team that I'm on matters. The people I surround myself with matters. If you want to increase your productivity, if you want to actually accelerate your growth, that's done in community. Join our community. Become a champion, guys. The House of Champions. Join the Hawk. Okay, again, you can always go to the website, The Place with TM as well. Place with TM podcast, you guys, is going to be popping this month. I am so excited. It is in the works as we speak. Thank you guys for coming to the live. Again, if you got any questions, DM me, guys. Again, okay? Live with intention today. Live with intention. Don't live life by accident. Be the designer of your life. Whether it's small changes, those things will lead to a big change in your life. I'll see you guys on the other side. Much love.